Do you ever feel guilty for saying no to people? Like you're letting them down or even being selfish? Well, here's the truth. Setting boundaries does not make you mean, it makes you sane. In today's video, I want to talk to you about how to set boundaries without feeling guilt and how to learn how to see it as an act of self love and not selfishness. But first, let's talk about the guilt that we feel when we set boundaries. Society tends to teach us that it's wonderful to be kind to others and that being kind to other people always means putting that person first. But kindness should never come at the expense of your well being. If you are constantly sacrificing your time and energy for other people, then you're not being kind. What you are is feeling drained. Growing up, my grandfather was a pastor. So giving of your time was something that I always saw him do. My mother was a nurse. Giving of her time and service and helping others was something that she naturally did. So it's easy to see how that giving nature and helping others could easily be instilled in me. And growing up, I pretty much always said yes to people, always wanted to go out of my way to help others. And that continued into adulthood. So, learning how to set boundaries was very difficult for me because I felt guilty. I felt like I was being selfish and I should help other people because I had something that they needed. It took me a long time to learn how to set boundaries. And I also learned that guilt that I felt was just a sign that I was trying to unlearn those old habits. You might think it's strange, but boundaries don't really push people away. They actually do help to create healthier, more respectful relationships. But what happens when you don't set boundaries? Well, I found out the hard way. You might feel burnt out, resentful, or even trapped in a cycle of overcommitting. For example, imagine saying yes to helping a coworker with a project. You already have your own project and your plate is full. Sure, your coworker is happy because they got the help that they needed, but now you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, and you're questioning yourself, why did I even help them in the first place? Does that sound familiar? When you give too much of yourself, you are running on empty. No boundaries, no balance. You can't pour from an empty cup, as they say. So, what can you do about these guilty feelings? Well, the thing that I think will help the most is to reframe your thinking about setting boundaries. Because boundaries are not selfish, they are actually an act of self respect. Think about boundaries as a way to protect your time, your energy, and your peace. When you set boundaries, you're teaching people how to treat you. You're also giving them permission to set their own boundaries, and that is something special. Now, let's practice. So, if you're one of those people who struggle to say no because you're afraid of hurting other people's feelings, then let's try this simple framework. First, I want you to thank the person for asking, and then I want you to kindly but firmly say no. The last thing I want you to do is avoid over explaining. For example, thank you so much for thinking of me, but I can't commit to that right now. Notice how clear and respectful that was, and I did not over justify. Here's another one. I'd love to help, but I need to focus on my priorities right now. The key is to be polite yet firm. You don't need to explain or apologize. Why? Because no is a complete sentence. Here's something to remember. The people who truly respect you will also respect your boundaries. And if someone doesn't, then that's a reflection of their behavior and not your worth. Every time you set a boundary, you're saying to yourself, I value me, and that is something to celebrate. Now, if you're ready to get started on your journey of setting boundaries, then you definitely need to check out my video called Say No on Purpose with No Explanation Needed. It's all about creating the space that you need to thrive and grow. I hope you found something useful or helpful to you in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.